Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on the Falcon YouTube channel. Hope you're all doing great. Really excited for this episode as we talk about the three-step process. So we got a lot of questions about the three-step process. Mark, what is it? How do I implement it? I thought I'd go in just a bit more detail, as this doesn't just apply to trading, this applies to all areas of life. And I think you take a lot of value away from it. This is something that I really want you to implement into your daily life. You'll thank yourself if you're looking to retain information. So what is the three-step process? Well, essentially, it goes like this. So let's say, for example, you're learning something. It might be watching, it might be reading. Let's look at watching first. Let's say you're taking a course, and this might be Forex, for example. You're taking a course and you're watching some video. The three-step process is that the first time you watch something on step one, you watch it all the way through, but you don't take no notes. You're literally, at this point, you're just absorbing the content, you're listening, because we get far too ahead of ourselves. How many of you have watched something and then straight away you want to write something down? You don't fully absorb it because you're too busy taking notes. The first point, I want you to literally just watch it. Second time round, this is where you watch it again and you take your notes. You'll find that the second time through, you'll take so many more notes than what you would have the first time. But the first time you've watched it, you've taken it in on a subconscious level, and then the second time you're taking the notes. Third time, this is where the magic happens. You then reflect on the notes that you've taken by watching it through for the third time, and then you take more notes. This is when you'll often find those little 1% tweaks. You'll think, I didn't really hear that the first time or the second time, and then the third time through, guess what? You find those little bits. And remember, it's always in the details is where you get that key information that could be that 1% tweak. So whether you're a trader, whether you've taken a course in property or business, anything like that, you'll find that utilizing the three-step process, if you're looking to retain information, that is the key thing. Watching content and just learning for the sake of learning it's irrelevant. You need to retain that information. And it brings me to a great example. How many people have book goals? How many of you have book goals? I'd love to know what you're reading right now. The reason why I bring this up is, I've got a book in front of me right now. As you can see, this is Trading in the Zone. So how many of you have read this book, by the way? I'd love to know. And, think of it like this. How many of you, going back to the first point of book goals, you have, let's say, 20 books for the year. How many of you set those goals? And then I've spoken to so many people before that say, right, Mark, I've read 24 books this year, for example. This is the goal that I had. And then I'll ask them, okay, so what books? And they'll just pick out a few random books. I'll say, okay, so what chapters do you know? What's chapter 5 on this book? Or what's chapter 2? What's chapter 1? What's that book about? They just know a little bit about it, but you don't fully retain it. If your goal is just to read books for the sake of reading books to, kind of tick that off, it's not really serving its purpose. What I've personally taken a lot of value in is reading something 3 times through and going deeper into the books rather than wide for the sake of just reading books, So, for example, I may read only 4 or 5 books a year, but I know those books to the absolute T because I've studied it, I've gone through, I've mastered the book, and that's the key, because then I'm able to implement it. So I'd highly recommend when you're going through that, you want to retain the information, and this is the science behind how we learn, because that's what you're doing, I'm guessing that if you're reading a book, you want it because you want to change, you want to improve your life. So you want to retain that information rather than just kind of skimming through it and saying, right, yep, done, goal ticked off. What is that actually achieved? That's the most important thing. So let's go even more specific. If we go trading in the zone, right? Looking at this, and we're going to look at something I've recommended to you guys before, chapter 7. So we go to thinking in probabilities. Now, there comes a point that you're going to read particular books and there's going to be certain chapters, they stick out to you. And when they stick out to you, you want to read those 3 times through. So you can be very specific with this process of the 3-step process. So as a refresher, you want to go over those key parts and say, do you know what? Right, I'm going to read chapter 7, thinking in probabilities in trading in the zone, and I'm going to read that 3 times through. First time I'm going to read it, second time I'm going to read it and take notes, third time I'm going to read it again and reflect on the notes that I've taken, and then actually make more notes. Then you're going to do a summary of that. Watch how much more information and knowledge you know, so then you can go and apply it, because this is the goal of the 3-step process. It is a concept where you can retain information clearly, concisely, but so you can actually apply it rather than just knowing a little bit about a subject. When you know a little bit about something, how are you really going to apply it? That's what you got to think about. So 3-step process, we use this in Falcon a lot because it helps all of the members in the community work efficiently, effectively, and they can actually retain the knowledge. That's the most important thing. So when you're a Falcon trader, you really know your stuff if you're applying this concept. And there's no coincidence that the people in the community that apply the 3-step process, they seem to be able to apply all of the concepts, the strategies, the tools, the techniques into their trading seamlessly. Why is that? It's because they've done that. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've done the three-step process before, some of you, but how many of you have actually done it? Or have you watched it the first time through and thought, oh, I take a note there. Why do we do that? That's the key thing, because you'll say you'll do it, but you won't. And this is where discipline comes in. Because I get it, when you're watching or you're reading something for the first time, sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and we think, oh wow, I've never heard that before. You want to write it down, you write down this, and you're not really taking in the information, but you have to apply discipline. The only reason we do that is because you think that, oh, I might not pick that up again. You will, it's this fear. Watch it all the way through and have discipline. Then go through the second time, make the notes. I promise you'll get more notes than what you would have done the first time. Third time through, you're going to reflect on the notes that you took on step 2. And on step 3, that could be the 1% tweak that you actually figure out that you can apply to your trading, or apply to if it's a business course, if it's a property course, or if it's something else. Just understand this concept will provide tons of value. I wanted to make a video on this because I thought this would really help. And like I said, you can literally apply it to all areas of your life. Doing that 3-step process, you want to be thorough. You know, you want to go through these things over and over again. And if you're really serious about what you want to do as an entrepreneur, a business person, take it serious, treat it like a business, master it, actually go through it over and over again, so you know you're doing everything within your power to understand, to then apply. Knowledge is just one thing, but if you don't know how to apply that, that's going to be useless to you. So I really hope that you take the exercises that I'm about to give you. So I want you to apply this in your next book. I'd love to know what you're reading right now. So let me know in the comments what book you're reading. Let me know if you've applied the 3-step process and you found that it helps. And again, even if you have to go away and do that and then comment later, let me know how you got on. I would love to know. I know this is going to provide tremendous value for you as a person. And you know, I can't wait to hear it. But guys and girls, have a successful week ahead. Looking forward to sharing some more interesting content that's coming in the works. And I'll speak to you all soon. Have an incredible weekend.